All right, Shalom Hakim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that teaches word in all true faith and sincerity. And today, I just want to title this lesson, The Almighty Famine. This is one of the major plagues that's going to contribute to the destruction, of America and these people. The lack of bread. And this is how Yahweh Shai is going to combat the pride, of these Americans, man. How fitting is that judgment of famine when, this is the most obese country in the world. You literally have food at your fingertips by the way of an app. You don't even have to go outside your door. It can be brought to you. So how fitting is that plague in this time? And we seeing the steps is going to lead to this great famine. One who have never seen the likes of it. Cannibalism is coming back. That lets you know that's a real famine, man. That cannibalism is on the table now. And this is what's about to take place here in America, man. This is from cnet.com, and it reads, grocery shortages, which that word shortage is a everyday term now. Somebody's short on something. You're going to use that word at least once or twice a day, man. Because this is that time. This place is lacking in every aspect. It says grocery shortages. Butter is harder to find, but that's not all. And as you can see, those sort of things that's kind of hard to find. It shows you that the scripture talks about the sons of men snared in an evil time. It says butter is scarcer and more expensive, joining Halloween candy, beer, ketchup, and other staples. See? And those are shortages. All of these certain things. It says several grocery store staples are experiencing shortages this year, including tomatoes, tampons, and even Halloween candy. And now you can add butter to the list of harder to find items as the holidays approach. And ultimately, it's going to get to the point where the scriptures, Lord, will we get it? Tells you suddenly the storehouse is going to be found empty, man. This is the reality that we're living in. And it's gonna hit these people hard when they experience privacy up close and personal, man. It says much of this scarcity is a result of pandemic-related supply chain issues and the ongoing war in Ukraine. Some is also fueled by droughts and higher temperatures caused by climate change. And this really, Yahweh Shai. You see all the different things that contributes to the lack of bread and water. We seeing the steps to this. When all hell break loose and these niggas are gonna be wanting for the fruits of the field when they ribs, when they navel touch they back. They're gonna ask why. How did they even get to this point? Well, these are the steps to it. These different articles, news clips and interviews is, proven prophecy. And when it fully, manifests, these people just gonna fall apart, man. But now we seeing why. We seeing the steps is gonna lead to this great famine, man. These different things that's contributing to it, that's fueling it, as they say. From the pandemic, the Crown Vic, and from the Russia-Ukraine situation, as well as the droughts, and even in certain parts of Babylon, the flooding is flooding on one part of Babylon, and another part of Babylon it's a lack of rain, droughts and shit. Even the Mississippi River is drying up. But all this just proves that we in the midst of prophecy, man. So matter of fact, let's start off with this in the book of 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter. In the 18th verse, it reads, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. And we see in the beginning stages that's going to bring forth sorrows and great mournings, which is happening now. But it's only going to get worse, man. In the time to come, when all hell breaks loose, nothing that's going to be able to comfort these people, man. Because a nigga could have a bad day, he can get to the house and catch the game. And he, throw a beer back or two. Now he's straight. But that's not going to be the case in a time to come. Pretty much the goal of these people during Jacob's trouble is what they're going to eat, man. Things that, they're going to be looking for a safe haven. But the scripture talk about sorrows on every side. So it's not going to be no relief in sight unless you in the pavilion of the Lord. So it's at the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. See? And when it's something is at the beginning, is an end to it. So it's a climax to the sorrows and mournings and the famine. It says, and great death. So meaning that word great goes into the highest degree. So we're about to see these plagues at its height, in its fullness. That's why, matter of fact, it says the beginning of wars. So that, for an example concerning war, we're going to actually see the height of it. That's why the missiles are on the scene now, because that's the height of war and the sword, the perfection of the sword, by the way of those missiles, man. Well, it said the beginning of it, but it shows it's going to be a climax to it, which we in. It says, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? See? So we didn't begin in stages because we getting reports on it. You got the news, like the different news articles. You get different news, breaking news, and that just shows me in the beginning you gonna know you in the time of Jacob's trouble. Ain't nobody gotta break that down to you, man, because it's gonna be in the midst of these things. But we seeing what's gonna lead to these great plagues. It says behold, see, which means to look. It is not meant to give an old English feel. It actually means to look or to see, which that's what we're doing. We behold the words of Yahweh by Shemal Shai. When an article come out concerning the failing financial structure, you get a news interview concerning the Karagma, how they trying to bring this forth as the new form of currency. As we just read in this from cnet.com, we actually seeing reports of more shortages. We actually seeing the words of Yahweh by Shemal Shai blossoming and manifest. And why it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a moment. See, because we in the beginning stages, it is meant for us to consider, and turn back to Yahweh by Shemal Shai for these things fully happen, man. It's like those the whips, those scourges. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So they're not considering is Yahweh by Shemal Shai that's bringing forth these things upon the planet Earth. But hey, they're gonna have to find out the hard way, just like in the time of Noah, when the floods came. Then they're going to know as the Lord when that flood of plagues. And one of those plagues is that famine, man. That's what's going to contribute to the mourning, the weeping. Well, that's a horrible way to die. Let's get that in the book of Lamentations 4. And that's a different level of death. There's different levels of death. And that famine is a horrific way to go, man. Lamentations 4:9 said, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. See, so that shows you the different levels of deaths. It's certain deaths that's better than others. So it's better for you to get gunned down, or even, it's better for you to get gunned down than to die by the famine. Why is that? It says, for these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. See, because it's going to be a mental thing as well. Of course, it's going to be physical. It get to the point, you might not be able to move or some shit, but it's going to be mental as well, because you're gonna still taste that patty melt, those hot lemon pepper wings, especially with these GMOs. That shit gonna even add more fuel to that mental distress, man. You had chicken sliders, that was your favorite thing to get at Christmas. Now there ain't no more, But that's a painful and a slow death, man. Because it's going to be not just a physical, it's going to be painful in the mind as well. So this is why the Lord, one of those plagues Yahweh Shemashah is going to bring forth is that famine, man. That's how you humble a nigga when you read Deuteronomy in the 8th chapter. The 3rd verse to talk about how the Lord humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger. So that's a humbling agent, not feeding you. Even with a you have an animal like a dog, or for an example, they don't eat their dog food. They so used to eating table food and shit. You starve them, don't feed them. Eventually they're gonna humble down and eat that goddamn dog food. And even in the article, going back to that article, it says one of those shortages was cat food. So these animals is gonna suffer, is gonna go through that famine as well. That's what's gonna lead to these people being eaten. It talks about the teeth of wild beasts. That's what's gonna contribute to that judgment, man. The animal food, even your house pet. The spirit of vengeance has jumped on him. Now he eating you, man. But just going back, that famine is going to contribute to the humbling of these people. This is 2 Ezra 8:50. It says, for many great miseries. See that word great again. So miseries at its height. Any and everything that's going to contribute to distress and anguish is already here, and it's only going to increase. It says, many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter times shall dwell in the world. See, these Babylonians, those that have put the covering of Esau upon them, this is what's going to go to them. It says, because they have walked in great pride. See, so they have lived the life of pretty much under the banner of Esau, because he is the pride, and they are following after his way. So they have walked in the same walk of this devil, and they're going to suffer the fate by the way of those miseries. And what's going to contribute to it? Like I said, the teeth of wild beasts, these power outages, when this devil bring forth these lockdowns, the military, Esau is for himself, as well as the famine, man. See, out of all that shit, you still got to eat, you still got to drink, So this is a major plague Yahweh Shemashah is bringing upon the earth, especially America, man. And how fitting. So matter of fact, Let's wrap it up with this in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. Revelation 18, and I start at verse 7. It reads, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. See? And these people have lived deliciously, from something as subtle as turning the damn faucet on and water coming out, or flushing your dawn down the toilet. Those are luxuries people even in this time have not seen. It's motherfucker that's still drawing water. Keeping your air 73 degrees year round. Who ever heard of such a thing? So how fitting is this judgment the Lord's going to bring upon America, man? It says, so much torment and sorrow giver. So yeah, you got it. Those things are going to be traded in. All these different luxuries. Like I said, literally, it's a literal saying. Everything at your fingertip by the way of an app. And let you know everything is turned upside down, because you can't even say a breath of fresh air in a literal sense. That has became a figurative saying over the years under the banner of Esau, because even the air is defiled. But you literally got things at your fingertips by the way of an app. You just go to the app store, the Play Store, whatever, and there's something to fulfill your sick fantasy. So, but it's gonna be traded in for torment and sorrow. So the beasts of the field, the power outages, the lack of bread and water, man. This is what's going to contribute to it. It says, for she said in her heart, I said, a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. And that's the pride of these people. Despite all this shit that's happening, a nigga still working on that 5-year plan. When all these things, when the Crown Vic shook the earth up, these niggas had their masks on, and first sign that it was easing on, these niggas back at it, man. Like ain't nothing finna, what the scripture said, they said everything has been since the fathers fell asleep, but they must forgot the Lord. It was a system in the time of Noah that ain't no remnants left of it except for the ark, man. Niggas had that same mindset. But they do not until the flood came. That's what's going to take place in this time, by the way, the host flood of plagues. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. See? And she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power, the judge of her. See? So this is how the Lord's going to combat the pride of these people. One of the things that's going to contribute to it is that famine, the lack of bread, that almighty famine, man. You can't play that off. You can't play it out being home. And just going back, like I said, all these things is going to happen during Jacob's trouble. You still going to be, it ain't like you ain't going to be hungry. You so scared that you ain't hungry no more. It's not finna work like that. So all thing we do is just hope the Lord keep us, and that's why we have this truth, man. Because niggas gonna be reduced to eating rats and roaches and shit, all type of abominable things, But we have the comforter, which is the scripture, the understanding of these scriptures to keep us in the time to come. So yeah, I just hope to edify, like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Shalom to the elect, to teach word in all true faith and sincerity. DTA, Bible, soon, very soon.